Whoa.
Yeah.
Gun? There's all sorts of blood in here. She's in there.
Earlier that morning, authorities were dispatched to perform a welfare check. A woman was missing, and the request had come from someone close to her.
What? She here?
Police pulled up outside the home of Keith and Amber Zadtal. The call that sparked their visit came from Amber's mother, Betty, who had dialed 911 after 2 long days without any response from her daughter. No texts, no calls, no signs of life. Initially, officers anticipated a standard missing person case, but what they were about to walk into was far from ordinary. It would unravel into something chilling.
Show me your hand! I got the dog! Get him! To ground! He's reaching! Stop!
Upon arrival, officers encountered an unsettling scene. The front door was opened, not by Keith or Amber, but by the couple's children. They explained their parents had left and hadn't come back. That alone raised alarms. Seeking clarity, officers called Betty again, the woman who had made the initial emergency call. What she told them next would steer this case into deeply disturbing territory.
Hello?
Betty, it's Officer Crowley, Aurora Police Department. I'm at the Milan Circle address. I'm talking to the kids. What's your relation to this family, just so I know?
I'm their grandma. She didn't take her truck because you can see it in the driveway.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Her phone, the bank card is still in the house.
Yeah. Betty, how many times do you think she's done that?
Well, she's come over to my house. Oh, 3-4 times this year.
Alright.
But it's always been for a day.
So what I'd like to do is start where we always start, and that's the last place she was seen. I don't want to ask these kids for permission to go in the house, so I may have to call your son-in-law, talk to him on the phone, and see if he'll give me permission to go inside.
Betty had visited the home earlier and recalled something strange. Amber's car was still parked out front. Her cell phone and wallet, credit cards, IDs, and vital documents all untouched inside the house. Seemingly small details, but ones that would later prove essential. Soon after that call, Betty and her husband Ronald arrived on the scene. That's when Betty shared a theory, one she feared might be true.
Hey, I'm Officer Crowley. Thanks for coming out. So I called him, but I left him a message. He didn't pick the phone up. So I can't just go inside without a warrant. I'd either need a warrant or his permission to go inside the house. And that's not your residence, and I can't ask you for permission. Obviously, the kids are too young for me to ask for permission. So just want to do it the right way before anything else, if that makes sense.
Yep.
When's the last time that you saw the dog?
Saturday afternoon when I came to pick up the kids. They spent the night with me Saturday night.
Was there any problems at that point, or was it just pick the kids up? The kids are going to stay at our house for the weekend?
Everything was fine. She said, I hope you feel better. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
It's pretty nice.
Had there been any drinking at that point?
No, heck no. They drink in the evenings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then no sign that there had been any argument or anything like that? Okay. As you can see, I don't want you to think that I jumped to any conclusions, but I'm just trying to put like a kind of a piece of timeline and kind of behavior as well too.
According to Betty, it was common for the family to gather for dinner on weekends. While Amber and Keith had their share of disagreements, nothing ever turned physical, at least not to her knowledge. Since the parents weren't present, police still had no legal grounds to enter the home. They continued gathering context from Betty. She described Amber as a loving, devoted mother, deeply involved in school activities, always prioritizing her children. That's why this situation was so baffling. Amber wouldn't just vanish. Then, Betty showed them something deeply unsettling. A note that hinted Amber might have taken her own life.
The note is what concerned us.
Do you mind if I read that?
I don't have a problem with it.
Is this a copy of it, or is this?
Yes, I made a copy. I don't know. This is the original.
Okay.
I didn't want to...
Just from my report, I'm going to have to take the original for evidence for property at some point, okay?
Okay.
But I'm going to sit and read this in the meantime.
The message read,
I haven't been the best wife. I deserve everything. And all the horrible thoughts you think of me, I have always had in my mind. Make sure my mom has to identify my body. Everyone would be better off without me.
At first glance, it appeared to be a final, heartbreaking message, a woman overwhelmed by despair. But something about the language didn't match Amber's character. Betty explained that during arguments, Amber always stayed at her parents' house. She'd never gone completely silent. Yes, she had a history of mental health struggles, but the wording, especially the line about her own mother identifying her body, felt unnervingly cruel and unnatural. Something didn't add up. Police began to wonder if this letter had been written under duress, or if Amber had even written it at all.
Do you think it's something that, would he harm her in any way? Would you have any either information or inkling that that might happen? No, okay. If she had walked away, I mean, I'm just wondering where else or how far she could have gone.
She has walked to our house. We're in 70.
Yeah.
When she's been drinking and can't.
I understand, of course.
So she's made
I
it that
agree.
far.
That's why I'm so concerned.
That's right.
And that's where, that's why I searched Sunrise Park, because that's the closest park to here. And I don't know why in my head it's, you're not going to do it in your home. You might do it too bad.
Yeah.
Betty admitted the letter felt strange, but she still didn't believe Keith had harmed her daughter. With no leads, officers decided it was time to escalate the investigation. But without permission or a warrant, entering the home wasn't an option. Using the children's help, they managed to contact Keith directly, hoping he'd allow them inside.
Dad?
The cops are here and they want to talk to you.
Is this Keith?
Yes, this is Keith.
Keith, this is Officer Crowley with the Aurora Police. How are you?
I'm alright, boss. How are you?
I'd like to go over a couple series of events and then ask you for permission if I could go inside your house. And where we start searches is the last place she was seen, and that would be your house. But I don't have a warrant, and I'm asking you for permission to go inside your house too.
Go ahead, man.
Keith didn't resist. He gave them the green light. While one officer stayed on the call, another began walking through the property. Neither knew they were moments away from stumbling onto a horrifying truth.
So Keith gave verbal consent for us to go in the house. I'm just gonna go in. If you want to come with me,
I will,
because I'd like you to show me.
God.
Okay. Where did you find the notebook?
In the garage.
In the
That's why
garage.
they
Okay.
literally live there.
Okay, let's start there then.
So Keith, in a bigger picture, what's going on?
Man, me and Amber drink a lot, and we fight a lot, and she likes to walk away, or actually drive away, and I took her keys from her, so she couldn't drive away. She grabbed her purse, slammed her phone on the ground, and left, and I have not seen her since.
Did you actually see her leave, or you just assumed she left?
No, sir. I begged her to stay on the couch. We fought a little bit more, and I said, well, whatever, Amber, you sleep out there on the couch, I'm going inside. And I went inside. I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then when I woke up at 9, 10 o'clock Sunday morning, there was a letter on the fucking coffee table.
Has she ever threatened to hurt herself in the past, or was this? Oh, she has.
The last 5 years, it's been her go-to. And that's what I try to tell her grandma and grandpa, too, is she does this to me all the time, almost every weekend. She'll leave, and then she won't come back till Monday or Tuesday. And then my kids get all mad at me because I let her back in.
I hope you don't mind me asking you personal questions, but is it possible she's seeing somebody else and she stays there?
Oh, for sure she is. She's been, that's another thing. That's why we fight all the time. She's been seeing somebody for about 5 years now. And she don't pay our bills. That's why we always fight, man.
Both Betty and Keith had acknowledged that Amber had struggled emotionally, but neither had grasped the severity of what had been unfolding or how catastrophic the consequences would soon become.
Where exactly was the book when you found it?
Right there.
Okay. And you recognized her handwriting?
Yes.
Okay.
It's unmistakable.
Okay.
Okay, this argument, you guys are arguing about About her seeing somebody, or were you guys arguing about lots of stuff?
Well, that always comes into play, but this particular argument was about her not paying my mortgage for 6 months. I give her all my money. I just cash my check and she pays all the bills. And lately she hasn't been paying her bills.
Hey Keith, did it get physical at all, or was it just arguing?
Yeah, we've been physical a couple times, but I want to say Saturday night, no.
You know, this is a fair question. Is there any chance that you hurt her in any way?
I fucking hope not, dude. I fucking hope not. But yeah, there's a possibility. I mean, I'm hoping not, but like I said, I don't remember shit. Me and Amber go through this shit all the time, and she always comes back.
Okay.
The only thing I'm worried about is she always goes to her fucking mom's house. She doesn't go anywhere. She does go somewhere else, but she always ends up at her mom's house.
Listening carefully to Keith's account, the officer initially found him credible as he described an argument about money and Amber's alleged infidelity. But the officer's concern grew when Keith admitted he'd been heavily intoxicated and couldn't remember if things turned physical. Suddenly, the possibility that Amber hadn't actually walked away became disturbingly real. Officers now suspected more clues were hidden inside the home. A drunken fight, maybe getting physical. Whatever happened, the answers were likely somewhere inside.
He gave me permission. I have it on my body camera, recorded it, okay? He gave me full permission to look in the house, so. Are these guys?
They let them out.
Are they generally friendly?
Normally, yes.
Okay, good. Just cause, you know. Did we look in there?
It doesn't open.
It doesn't look like it's been disturbed because there's debris on the top of it, but you want to work on opening it?
Yeah. Gloves. Be able to see.
As officers continued their search, their body language indicated something was off. Careful not to alarm the family, neither officers openly acknowledged it yet, but they both recognized the unmistakable stench hanging in the air, the odor of decay. At this point, the only thing they were looking for was the source of that disturbing smell.
Is that finished off up top? Kind of like a black.
No, it's just that.
It's right here.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Gun. Oh. Magazine. Okay. Do we want to call someone? Yeah. 1 second. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll have you stay inside, please.
She's in there.
Inside the garage, buried under trash, officers made a devastating discovery: a firearm, and just beneath it, Amber's body. She had a gunshot wound to the head, left to rot with the household garbage. What had begun as a welfare check had now become a crime scene, and early signs pointed away from suicide.
But when I searched the house, my fear was, something funky. I looked in that trash bin.
Okay.
There was nothing in it.
Okay. Well, when was that? When did?
I was here about 9 a.m.
Okay.
There was not. I would have noticed that.
Okay.
The top was the carpets, and because of the smell, I literally
I'm just going to
too
stay
many
here.
forensic files. It was not there. So somebody's been here.
Okay.
And the kids were sleeping, and they are unaware of being here.
Okay.
But so somebody did that.
Okay.
Ready? Partner, what's your first name? Ron. Can you get the kids and just go wait in your house?
Strangely, Betty had noticed a foul odor earlier that day, but she hadn't made the connection. Instead, She thought her concern stemmed from the weapon officers had just found. What she didn't realize was that her earlier statement, claiming she'd already searched that very trash can, would soon raise suspicions about her own potential involvement. But first, officers had to move quickly, securing the area and keeping the family away from what was now an active murder scene.
I don't want the kids to see.
I mean, this isn't missed. So if you lift here, I mean, obviously there's a gun there, but if you lift here, you can see her foot. She weighs about 160, 170 pounds. Right there, where your hand is. See, there's the body. Yeah. So I called Reno. He's calling MCU, and I know he sent you too.
While officers waited for the Major Crimes Unit to arrive and process the scene for forensic evidence, they began to grapple with several troubling inconsistencies surrounding Amber's family. Keith had admitted to being heavily intoxicated the night Amber disappeared. He couldn't say for certain whether his argument with Amber had turned violent, only that things had gotten heated, and that much of the night was a blur. But Keith wasn't the only one officers considered a suspect. Amber's mother, Betty, claimed she had checked the trash can earlier that morning and had seen no sign of Amber's body or the gun. Yet, just hours later, both appeared right there in plain sight, exactly where she swore she'd already searched. Even stranger to officers was Betty's demeanor. Despite the horrifying situation unfolding around her and the possibility that her daughter had taken her own life, she remained unusually calm, at times even casual. And then there was the note. Supposedly written by Amber, its wording struck investigators as strange, too composed, almost performative. Still, in a situation as dark and desperate as contemplating suicide, people sometimes write in ways that defy logic or expectations. At this point, everyone's stories seemed suspiciously incomplete, and anyone could be responsible in the eyes of detectives. Investigators started realizing that Amber's murder might be far more complicated than they initially thought. So, to investigate these disturbing possibilities, police knew they'd soon need to sit down with Amber's family and carefully interview each member to uncover who might be hiding something. But before doing that, officers needed to finish one crucial step: a final, thorough search of the Zotto home, carefully looking for any signs of violence or attempted cover-up. And sure enough, it didn't take long before they started noticing blood spatter throughout the house.
So a lot of these carpet pieces now, I wonder if the carpet went all the way back, or I didn't see like spatter.
I know, right?
So the book was right here. There was space open with the last page showing, and that bill was on top of it. No red pen. Get blood on the light switch. We've got a lot of blood on the sink.
Yeah, so we left it the way we found it as well too. You know, the way the door was when we searched. But yeah, she found a little bit of obvious blood in the kitchen and the sink as well too, so.
Within minutes, officers found clear evidence that something violent had occurred before Amber's body ended up in the trash can. Their first sign that foul play was likely involved. Additionally, the Major Crimes Unit documented critical forensic evidence, including the silver revolver found over Amber's concealed body, blood spatter around the trash can, and debris deliberately placed to hide her remains. Despite these findings pointing towards foul play, detectives still needed clarity on whether Amber's death was a premeditated act or the result of a heated argument that spiraled violently out of control. But they had two major issues preventing them from answering this crucial question. First, Keith was nowhere to be seen, and his phone had gone completely unreachable. Second, And most important, detectives had yet to determine exactly who was responsible, because at this point, several people remained under suspicion, including Amber's mother and even her own children. Police didn't know it yet, but in the coming hours, these questions would be fully answered, and the case would take a completely unexpected turn. So, to fill in these gaps, all of Amber's closest family members were transported to the police station for questioning. Detectives hoped they could uncover each member's potential motives, credibility, and who was hiding secrets, and finally reveal who might actually be responsible for Amber's murder.
I don't want to falsely alarm you, but I also believe in being as honest as we can with loved ones. We may have found Amber.
No.
Yeah, but we're not completely sure yet, Ron.
Just do it. Just do it.
We're not pointing fingers or making accusations at this time, but is there any reason Keith would hurt her?
I don't know. I really don't. I wish I could tell you more. I don't.
Either accidentally or intentionally, would he hurt or kill her? If he were to mistreat her, would she protect him?
She probably would.
So I went out there and I seen the letter, or it was a 4.5-page note. And it's very important. I looked in that trash bin.
Okay.
It had an ungodly trash odor, honestly. But I tried to, there's some carpet squares were on the top. I tried to lift up, make sure there was nothing under it.
Okay.
Not that, I don't know what I was expecting, but I did. So I absolutely looked in that bin.
Okay.
I thought that'll be important. And didn't see anything, and I went out.
Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the fighting and do you know why?
Yeah, I do know why.
Okay.
My mom cheats on my dad, and she's not good at it, I guess. Okay. And so he finds out, and then they just go at it because she tries to lie about it.
Okay.
He has evidence of her doing it, and so it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the last Saturday is in just a couple days ago?
Yeah, last Friday was the last time I seen her.
Okay. Did you talk to her at all on the phone or anything?
No, she came over for dinner because my grandma was cooking dinner, and she came over, and we had dinner, and then she left, and then, yeah.
And then you were there
from
Saturday.
Friday all the way to Sunday.
Okay.
Through those interviews, clarity finally began to emerge. Betty continued to insist she'd seen nothing in that trash can earlier. That detail now seemed suspicious. Ronald, Amber's father, was devastated and in disbelief. He didn't want to believe Keith was capable of murder. The children, meanwhile, explained they'd been staying with their grandparents over the weekend, explaining why they hadn't heard the fatal shot. But Annabelle's calmness stood out. She seemed unusually aware of the dysfunction in her parents' relationship. What else might she know? As officers reviewed the family's testimonies, they were preparing to track down Keith, still the missing piece. Then came a twist. A call from his sister, Susan Russ. Keith had shown up at her home, and what he told her changed everything.
I saw my brother park up there, and so I got the dogs out. And I didn't know the front door was open, and he just came in, and I seen it on his face, and he goes, "You know I don't hate you." That was the first thing out of his mouth. And I said, "I know, I love you. You're my best friend."
Okay.
And then I said, "It's Amber that's trying to keep us apart."
Okay.
And he just looked at me and started crying. And I said, "Oh my God, what did you do?"
Okay.
And I asked him if Amber was okay. And then he looked at me and he said, "You know what? I don't remember anything."
Okay.
I just remember waking up and seeing her at the ground.
Okay.
I asked him what the hell happened to tell me what he did.
Okay.
He said they'd been drinking and fighting all night.
Okay.
It was over money, I guess. He opened some bills and found out that the house had been foreclosed on.
Okay.
And that Amber pulled out the gun and he hit my brother with it, and then Keith said he took it away, and it just happened like that. He said he blinked his eyes, and that was it. He said I blinked my eyes too, and I opened them, and I seen her on the ground.
Susan's testimony finally cleared up everything for investigators. Keith himself admitted he'd woken up from a blackout to find Amber dead and openly acknowledged a violent confrontation that spiraled completely out of control. It was now clearer than ever that Keith Zotto was at the heart of Amber's murder, and it was time to track him down. Just a couple of hours after detectives left Susan's house, Aurora police received a call they never expected. Keith Zotto had surfaced at his sister's house again, ready to surrender. By now, officers knew Keith had already killed once, and for all they knew, he was still armed and dangerous. So they came prepared. A SWAT team descended upon the location, ready to take Keith down if he made even the slightest wrong move.
It's gotta be up one more.
It's this one, right?
7-9?
7-9 is this one.
All right, sorry. Ready? Watch out, Bubba.
Show me your hands!
Front door. Ma'am, come to me.
Going out.
I see him. I see him. Come to me.
Going out. Turn right.
Point to me. Come to me.
I got a guy out. Gotcha.
Hands up. Everybody hands up, please. Very good. Walk to my voice. Go hands on.
Stop. Just shoot.
Just walk towards me, nice and easy. Okay? All right. We'll talk to you in a... No, we're not. We're not going to hurt him. Okay? Walk towards me. No. Just keep walking. Walk towards this guy.
Very good. You good, man. Very good. Very good. Very good. Right here. There you go. Sit right there, man. Yes, sir. Long guns. Yeah, feel free to go ahead of me here.
Hold on. It all looks normal.
Bro, if you just want to hold it, I'll be back with you.
You guys good?
Is that your mom, and who else is the other lady? Gotcha. Okay, man. Very good. We appreciate you coming out, bud.
Yes, sir.
We'll explain it all to you, okay?
I already know.
Okay, buddy. Okay. Okay, there you go.
Remember much.
Finally, after hours of uncertainty, Keith Zotto surrendered to Aurora police without incident. He was immediately taken into custody and formally processed for the murder of his wife, Amber. Keith would go on to admit to killing Amber late Saturday night, claiming his gun accidentally went off during a drunken argument over money and infidelity. Though he insisted he couldn't remember placing her body in the trash or concealing the crime, Keith accepted responsibility for her death. However, Betty's earlier statement surrounding the infamous trash can remained unclear, and investigators were never able to determine why she didn't see the gun or Amber's body that morning. In May of 2021, Keith Zotto was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.